Join Sean and Brad as they talk about sports and share a beer. From the east coast of Canada to the west coast
Hello,
of the
friends.
United
Welcome
States.
again. First show
Over
of
to you,
2021.
boys.
Guys, Beer Sports coming live from all the coasts. Actually, just the most two important coasts, West Coast and East Coast. Hey, Sean, good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. Been troublesome. I really hate fireworks. So my dog went running on New Year's Eve. Still hasn't showed up, but the whole neighborhood here is just awesome and doing searches. So we hope that she shows up. Her name is Daisy. She's a brown and tan dachshund. I don't know. I know there's people all over the world, but anybody that's listening in Halifax, just keep your eyes out. That's all I can ask. Yeah. Other than that, Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year. Big weekend in sports. A lot of college football. NBA's kicking and rolling. Seeing some fun stuff there. Most importantly, NFL is about to close the regular season with all kinds of drama. So we'll get to that. First,
So Tom Migrant, Tom Migrant is joining us. Yeah. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Flyers Beer and Brewery. Open corner of 20 and Woodby Avenue. Takeout specials, man. They have the best French dip sandwich. You can get it. You can call. They'll bring it to your car. You know, they expand their heating area. It's a wonderful place to go and catch a couple games. Flyers, thank you so much. I mean, I'm on the Pacemaker again. I should be getting one of their other beers on tap, but the Pacemaker is so fantastic. I can't get away from it. So
don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Right. Yeah. So shout out to Flyers Brewery. We appreciate your support. Thanks for being the official sponsor of Guys Beer Sports.
So I got my cup here. Old Biddies. This is a special one that you can only buy in the store there. Well, you can all buy only any of their beers at 111 Cobequid Road. This is the Engine 41 smoked porter. This is awesome beer. My goodness. So it's named after a legendary fire truck here in Lower Sackville, Engine 41. So yeah, I know.
Oh.
Man. Hey, but without further ado,
one of these days we're gonna have to go through all the names of is this a Canadian town or not?
We will. Oh, we will.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. But we got some major football to be talking, and I think there's no other better guest than who we have coming on right now, Tommy Migrant. So interesting story he has. This guy, amazing story, amazing person, amazing life coach person. Yeah. Just all around really amazing guy. So I'm looking forward to having him on. What do you think? We should bring him on?
Yeah, let's bring him in. Yeah, I think you guys are going to really appreciate his energy and his passion for developing better humans. And so we're interested to have Tommy share his thoughts with us today.
All right.
Hey, I'm here.
Hello. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's today's a great day because the Ohio State Buckeyes beat Clemson last night. So So I woke up in a pretty good mood today.
Woo!
Not just beat them, they throttled them.
They throttled them. And
right,
you know what?
I have no one in the race, right? I don't have any. My football teams aren't good enough to go there. But looking at the Final Four, I mean, we saw from a betting line perspective, Alabama, a 3-score lead, right? Essentially 18.5 points was the line that closed. We feel like that would be the blowout of the week. I did personally. I know I watched the first half and it wasn't even competitive. I expected to be a competitive game between Ohio State and Clemson. I didn't necessarily think Ohio State would lose. I just felt like it would be like we've seen, right? It would come down to the last couple of minutes. There would be some tension, some drama. And every time they would, Clemson would draw within 2 touchdowns. Like, here comes Ohio State, just foot on the gas, going. Was that a surprise to you as a fan?
It was. Yeah, it was. As someone who I love Ohio State. I'm a football coach, but I certainly, if there's a team that I'm a fan of, I typically don't watch football as a fan. I watch it as a coach, and there's a little bit of a difference. But I watch Ohio State as a fan, and I was telling people, everyone's saying Clemson's going to win. And I said, listen, I think it'll be, a 35-28 kind of game, a score, no nice more than close. 7 points either way. Yeah. Expecting the same thing that I think, many people were expecting, a competitive game. I I thought that Ohio State was going to have to score 35 or 42 to win, before the game. And you know what? They came out and they played. I never underestimate the power of emotion and togetherness. And I think when you have a team, and Kirk Herbstreit hinted to this last night on the broadcast, and I've lived it. I've lived it in my time at a school in Florida, St. Thomas Aquinas, which is one of the top high school programs in the country that develops, 20, 25 D1 guys a year, NFL guys like Nick Bosa.
Wow. Yeah.
When you're in that kind of team and you're just that dominant, you're that dominant on your regular schedule. There, a lot of the teams that you face is not really going to be a challenge. When you know that you're up, when you're fighting a big fish, it's all hands on deck.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so those guys that have that talent level and that sort of coaching and come from a program like an Ohio State are going to rise to the occasion, when there's a challenge. I think that when Ohio State plays a great underdog. You look at their last 2 national titles in 2002 and 2015. And both of those cases,
yeah. It was the backup. The backup quarterback was coming in to play the final game.
Right.
So I mean, yeah.
That 2002 game stands out for me, just watching it and just going into that game thinking that Ohio State had zero chance.
Zero chance against Miami, right? I mean, Miami was fully loaded. Ohio State, had to win in the last 30 seconds against Purdue on a pass by Craig Krenzel down the sideline to Michael Jenkins. And I mean, so nobody, including the Ohio State fans, gave Ohio State much of a chance in those games. So I just think that Ohio State as a program, when they're the underdog, has a tendency to just rise up. You might
have a point there, because when I think about it, this is the 4th time, or is it the 5th time? This is the 5th time they faced Clemson.
5th time in history.
5th time, because the four times they lost. So I mean, this time we weren't the favorites. We weren't the number 2 or the number 1 team. We were the number 3 team going in against them.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm there going to myself like, okay, we don't have Urban Myers, right, as the head coach. So, you are a little bit, you have a little trepidation going into it. But man, oh man, because I was worried there after that Northwestern game, because it looked like it took them a whole half to get going. They were going right from the start, and it just
they found a rhythm in Trey Sermon on the ground. Yeah. Right. Ohio State's offensive line is playing lights out right now. I mean, you look at, if you go back and, I'm a guy that I watch the O-line. That's what I coach. And so that's what I'm interested in, is what the offensive line is doing. It's different than most fans. You look at the pass protection that they gave Justin Fields last night. He had all kinds of time to throw. He was very seldom had any kind of pressure. I think one time on an important 3rd and 4 in the 4th quarter, Clemson's Venables from Clemson brought, an all-out blitz and got to him. But
but that's the thing, though. I mean, you're talking about one of the top programs in the country in Clemson, and you expect them to get home a couple of times.
And they really weren't. I mean, in Ohio State.
I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't a surprise to me to see him get home a couple of times, but I was impressed with the line play on both sides. I think that, and I haven't watched a lot of Ohio State games this year, but I feel like that
there's only 6 to watch. So
yeah, I feel like the defensive line last night played better than we've seen many Ohio State line. Ohio State always has good defensive lines, right? Like they put out right.
It
seems like running backs and running backs seem to come out of Ohio State. They just seem to raise them up like cattle, man. It's crazy.
Corners, running back. I mean, if you go back through the last 10, 15.
They're a top tier program. I felt like that defensive line effort last night was one of the best I had ever seen. And that might be their best group. It's a shame they didn't get a full season.
It is. It's a shame that they didn't get a full season. It's also a shame that some of the normally big-time teams like Penn State and Michigan in the Big Ten were down this year, and Ohio State didn't have a chance to play them at their best as well, because I think that sort of taints. Listen, it was a tough season, I think, all around the board. I got a lot of guys that I coach that are still playing college ball, and I talk to many of them still. And the whole COVID thing, not knowing if you're going to have a season, not knowing week to week, who's going to be available to play and who's going to be quarantined.
Going to play.
We
saw how many games did we see get called off on Thursday night or Friday morning for a Saturday game. Like you're already deep into
Like
your
last
preparation.
second.
Well, you're deep
Yeah.
into your practice week, and all of a sudden the guy that's supposed to be next to you, that's taking all the reps next to you all week, is gone. He gets tapped on the shoulder on Friday morning, and he's gone. I mean, I think Ohio State on Friday night announced that Harry Miller, who's their starting left guard, was going to be out for COVID the night before the game against Clemson. So they got a backup guard in there. He goes down. They bring in their third option in Paris Johnson, who's a true freshman, to play left guard. He played quite a bit last night due to that situation. And he's a guy that hasn't got a lot of time in the 6 games that they've played. And he came in and did very well. So, I mean, for the offensive line to have a couple of holes in it like it did, for them to have guys out, and to still come out and perform the way that they did last night. I mean,
there was all sorts of lanes for the running backs to go through there in order to get down there. It was amazing. It was amazing to watch. Listen, Tommy,
I think that when Mr. Fields gets drafted, I don't know what the NCAA eligibility rules are, but he owes them boys something.
I'm sure he'll take care of them, man. I'm sure.
Listen, I think he's going to one of 2 places. Okay, either Jacksonville or maybe the Jets. That's where Justin Fields is going.
Yeah.
So, but
it was interesting. It's interesting to watch. Sean and I talked a little bit this morning off air about the buzz for Justin Fields to go number 1 and to leapfrog Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Trevor Lawrence did not play well last night.
No, not well. You know what? If you look at his stats, though, I mean, he threw for 400 yards.
Well, his ball control, I think, is the issue for me, right? How many times did he put the ball on the ground?
I mean, he fumbled it 3 times, lost it once, threw a pick, in the end zone. It got bounced around. That's a ball that could have went either way.
Yeah.
And it was his body language, though. And you saw it multiple coaches getting to him, trying to get him right. We saw the film. I thought it was a great shot by the guy with the lineman coming up and tapping his chin, telling him to keep his chin up.
Yeah.
You got Dabo covering his face with the play calling sheet and telling him to keep his looks. You know what I mean? Like those are real evaluation tools. I don't know you throw away Trevor Lawrence's career over 1 game.
No.
Clearly.
No.
But
it does to me, it brings into question though, like did he lose a little bit of a stock going into this draft now because of this game? And it's not that it wasn't a terrible game, but he was definitely exposed.
Well, there's a chink in the armor, right?
Yeah.
Something.
And I think we build people up, as humans, we build other humans up into these Superman sort of idols, that they're flawless, in our minds, and they go out there and they show some flaws, but everybody's human. I can't begin to imagine the amount of pressure that's on a guy like Trevor Lawrence, who everybody's hyping up as the Heisman winner and the number 1, and he probably has a lot of pressure on himself to go win a national title, to solidify that.
Well, he didn't want to cap his career that way.
Yeah.
No, he didn't want to go out there and lay an egg and get his ass beat like that. But he did, and you'll see how he bounces back. I mean, I don't know Trevor personally, but I think he from what I see and what I read and what I hear, he's a good character guy. Yeah, and he'll bounce back from it. But last night was certainly Justin Fields' night as far as the 2 quarterbacks go.
My question is, will he bounce back from the comments made from the hot mic when he was in the press conference? Will he bounce back from that?
Oh, he's not going to shave that mustache ever again.
I don't think so.
He's a competitor. He's going to shove it.
That was the funniest thing. Oh, he really needs to shave that mustache. It's like, whoa, quiet down.
Yeah,
listen, Tommy.
I feel the same way. I think Trevor is who he is, at least who we know him to be, and I would imagine that setback just sets him up for a better future.
For greater success down the road, because he'll use it as a learning. Sorry, hey, my little girl wants to say hi.
Hi.
She snuck into my home office here. This is Adeline. So
hi, Adeline.
Say hi. Okay.
Welcome to the show.
I gotta do this. So I need you quiet. Okay.
I've got we usually have an appearance from my 4-year-old. Her name is Coco, and she was in here right before we went live. So
all right. Well, I have this one, and we have 5-year-old twins as well.
Oh,
so 7. So we have 3 from the ages of 5 to 7.
Ooh. Yep. Busy man.
You're in it. You're in it. I just graduated from that. For a while, I had 4. I went 6, 5, 3 in an infant for a while, and then we had.
Oh wow.
We had 13-year-olds. So now we go 15, 10, 9, 7, 4. So,
Wow.
yeah, I appreciate the drawings you have in the background of your office there. That's
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
well, my
awesome.
kids, my kids make their drawings. I mean, I've got my Ohio State stuff up, and
yeah.
and my hat rack with all my favorite hats, my
That's
Browns
the
hat.
important things, but it's just the drawings are where it's at. I always think
Yeah, man, it's there's nothing I love more than my kids.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
it's everything.
I do want to, since we got a little break here, I like to get into Tom, into your story. So I just wanted to touch really quickly about Beachbody P90X, because like some people back then probably would recognize you from that time period, because you were on every infomercial.
Yeah, it was well, so in 2008, I mean, if you remember, I mean, P90X came out in 04.
Mm-hmm.
But from 2008 till about 2012, 13, I mean, it was like the hottest thing. I mean, P90X was showing up in music. There was a lot of stars that used it, Pink and there were some NFL guys that would use P90X and broadcasters and stuff like that. And I was just a guy from a little town of 8,000 people called Bellevue, Ohio. And I picked up P90X and I started doing it and I kept doing it. And I had a pretty significant transformation with it. And they had the opportunity you could submit your story. And so I did. I submitted my story and it got used, and they flew me out to LA and put me on a green screen and did all kinds of interviews. And before I know it, I'm actually selling P90X on QVC with Tony and traveling around with him a little bit and with Tony Horton. And, so yeah, I'm more than happy to talk about that and, and dive into that a little bit. But it was a great program, a great company, and a great community of people. I mean, it actually became a community of people. I mean, P90Xers were actually a thing, and there were millions of people using P90X. And so
it was a worldwide phenomenon. I remember that. And I remember doing the hour-and-a-half yoga. And I'm like, what in the world are they doing?
Well,
I switched over to Diamond Dallas Page yoga very shortly after that, because he takes it easy on you.
Too big to be doing an hour and a half of yoga, Sean.
I know, but DDP yoga was just perfect there. Tony Horton was killing me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what I did with the yoga starting out, because I was I'm only 5'7", and I was 265, I think, when I first started doing P90X, and so I couldn't. Half the time I would just look at the screen with my jaw dropped, thinking, how the hell am I supposed to do this? But Tony in the program, Tony would infiltrate. It's true. Like, I could barely touch my toes. I mean, I could barely, do the reach around and wipe my own butt. And
I would do this move where you put your hand in between, your nether regions, and then the back of your hand goes down your butt crack there,
right,
and you're trying to grab it, and then have your leg up, and I'm there going, what the heck? I
wasn't doing that. I mean, it was, but Tony would talk about in the program, do your best. There was a couple things. Do your best, forget the rest. And I bought into that wholeheartedly, because it was the same message that I would give the kids as I was coaching football. Right. I would ask them for their best effort. And I knew if they continuously gave me their best effort on a daily basis, that eventually they would make progress. Right. And eventually they would get better. Eventually they would start climbing that mountain. That was the first message that Tony had in his video. The second message that sold me on was when he said, keep showing up, keep pushing play.
Right.
So I just remember I was doing one of the workouts. It was like the first couple of weeks I'm doing it. And I hear him say, just keep showing up, keep pushing play. And in my mind, I thought, I just got to keep showing up. It don't matter how good I do today. It doesn't matter how many push-ups I actually do. I got to do my best. I got to keep showing up, number one. And then I got to keep doing my best and forget about everything else, right? So if my best was, and I said this in the commercial, if my best was to, do 10 push-ups from my knees, then that's what I did, because I knew the next week I could do 12 from my knees. And eventually I would get to my toes. And so, it's the same process that a football player goes through. I have kids that show up as freshmen or sophomores and they're not physically or mentally or emotionally ready to take the big stage.
Right.
But there's a developmental period. So I think with P90X, Tony was a master.
Yeah.
At least with me, of getting me to just buy into some very simple concepts.
And that was just all straight through the video, right? Just him saying it through the video too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and I'll share this. So that was, yeah, I mean, I just bought the set of DVDs. That's what I did, just like everybody else. So, you know, I saw the infomercial. I picked up a set of DVDs. I had another buddy that had been doing it that I had done it a little bit with, but, you know, I finally got my own set of DVDs and just said, I'm doing this no matter what, no matter how bad it hurts, you know, because I have to. So
can I
go ahead.
I just wanted to say this because I'll never forget this. Okay. So Joanna and we reconnected in August of 2009. And then we ended up getting married I lied to you, August of 2008. And then we ended up getting married in March 2009. And I remember because your pictures were popping up, your infomercial was popping up, right, on P90X. And I'm there going, you know, like, is this for real? You know what I mean? Like, you know, is this for real?
Right.
And then my wife, who knows you, right, goes, no, I know that guy. I know him. That's all crazy. For real. Yeah. This is for real. And then I heard your story, how you did it like, what was it, 5 or 6 times?
I did 5 straight rounds.
Wow.
So I started doing it September 26th of 2008 was when I actually committed. I mean, there's a difference between interest and commitment, right?
Yeah.
So I had done it. I had started it and did a few weeks with my buddy, you know, and then life happens like it does for most people. And I kind of fell off the wagon and he wasn't doing it anymore. And then, you know, it was a few months later when I said, I knew it would work, you know, that I'm going to commit to it, you know, so, yeah, I mean, that was a real transformation. I did it 100% with P90X. There was no funny stuff about it. I mean, I just did that program, but I was smart enough at that time to not think I knew more than the program. Right.
Yeah,
I think humanly we can get in the way by thinking we know more, we know better. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm going to try it. You know, there was a reason, like we were talking about the yoga. Yeah. That yoga sucked. You know, it's
listen. Man, I was doing yoga up until this pandemic stopped twice a week, and I was in there with the people that were, you know, I'm 41 or something. I'm 40 something.
Right.
30 years older than me. They're just smoke checking me in this class, and I'm not a small, weak man.
Right.
But it's so important. Like that's the one thing I missed. I got like 3 months into this pandemic, and I was like, man, why do I feel like
I believe so much in that yoga.
The one thing that stopped was yoga. So
yeah,
again virtually because
you know there's a reason why Tony, you know, that yoga workout. If you go through P90X, if you actually add up how many times you do each one of the workouts, the yoga is the one you do the most. It's like 12 or 14 of the 90 days.
That's crazy.
Right? And so, and there's a reason. There's a reason for that.
Everything was so difficult on that.
Well, so
and he was holding poses for a while.
Well, and there was no way physically I could not do it when I first started. So. So what I did was I subbed in that Cardio X, and the first 15 minutes of Cardio X is really the yoga warm up, right? It's like the first 15 minutes of the yoga workout,
right?
And so I just did that on yoga day until I could really do it, and then once I did it, I challenged myself with the actual yoga workout. That's an hour and a half, and it took me a whole year to get to the point where I could do 95% of that workout. Crazy. You know, so. But it's, you know, there's a lot of similarities to that. I think in anything in life that the people that are consistent, you know, and consistently show up and not only put the practice and the work in, but put the correct practice and the correct work in.
Yeah.
You know, everyone wants to say practice makes perfect. I don't believe that because bad practice does not make perfect.
Does this sound like a coach? This sounds like a coach to me, man.
I guess a couple of things I want to get your input on is you know, you said before, I think I'll just paraphrase it, but you know, it was that you expected your best, right? And I think that's important, you know, that we get around with coaches, but that you expect the best, but I think you do that by providing your best also.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because what you said is true. It's not, you can make modification to whatever the work is, as long as it's correct modification.
Right.
You build toward it. No one's going to hit it out of the park on the first part. And that's what I feel like this society has become. We're so fast food, instant gratification, all these things. Then we started thinking, and I think that, you know, in my life, when I feel like I'm smarter than the process, it's because I don't want to put the work in because the work sucks.
Right.
But what I've learned is that the beauty is the work.
That's
what
it is.
It's not, it's the, not, that's an old cliche, right? That it's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
But it's true. And when you have people who coach, or people who, like yourself, or who were involved in the Beachbody, the P90X, or coaching football now, or coaching any sport, or just being a mentor to younger folks, I think that's the lesson, right? And what you learn from that is being a coach is that's more fulfilling than winning, right? Is watching the mindset change and watching the work ethic develop.
Yeah, because it's like you're to me, you're an inspiration as well, because it's just knowing, we never met. I just know you through my wife, and you've been an inspiration after I heard that there on that P90X, that it's like, it doesn't matter what. And then I remember my wife telling me that you were doing some crazy bench press numbers there when you were in high school. And I'm like, get out of here.
Well,
get out of here. What in the world? I'm 6'1" and I'm doing 365 at 38, right? And then she's telling me that in high school you were doing like 330. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah. In high school I was about 3 1/4. And then on my bench, and then in college, I actually the highest one max rep I ever did was 425.
What?
And it was, but you know what? I'm built for it. I can't dunk a basketball. But I'm one of those sorts.
I don't mean this disrespectfully, but how long are your arms?
No, I mean they're not long at all. I'm 5'7". So, and I got a big gorilla chest on me. My chest is 47 inches around. So
I did mid threes, but I was always like, man, I've got a 37-inch arm. Like that's
I didn't have,
I'm like this, man. I'm like woo woo woo.
Yeah, I don't have far to move the bar. If I could move it 8 inches, I could get it. So. Yep. I think different people are built for different things,
Yeah, for sure.
Your story is such an inspiration, because like then I heard all that you were coaching then in Beachbody, and then all of a sudden I heard you went to St. Thomas Aquinas to coach high school football. One of the top
which
areas.
it was P90X that ironically what ties that in is, so I coached high school football. After college I came back to my hometown, and I started coaching with the guy that was my head coach in high school, Coach Sassani at Bellevue High School. He's a legend in North Central Ohio as far as high school football goes. And so I coached for 15 or 16 seasons in my hometown, and the P90X stuff started happening, and it expanded my world. All of a sudden I go from being a guy that is known around Central Ohio to there's people all over the country through the P90X that know me. So I happened to be on a Beachbody cruise, and there was a guy named Rocco Casulo, who was the head coach of St. Thomas Aquinas, that was also on that cruise. And so we had just played for a state championship the year before in Ohio, and he was the head coach at St. Thomas, and we got to talking, and I had married a Florida girl. And so part of my commitment to her was I would figure out a way to get us back to Florida, but I wanted to continue coaching football, right? That was really what I love to do. And so just, orchestrated by God is all I would say, is I'm on this cruise, and the head coach at St. Thomas meets me, and we start talking. We're drinking a beer on the deck of the cruise and talking football. And he got to know me, and he said, listen, you're trying to get back to Florida, and you're trying to move your wife and your family to Florida, and I need an offensive line coach, because the guy that's my offensive line coach is in his 42nd season. Ooh. And he's ready to retire, but there's not a lot of options as far as replacing him, and I've heard you speak at Beachbody events, and why don't you come down to St. Thomas and visit, and then we can make a decision from there, Yeah. And so that's what happened. Should I wait for Sean to return?
No, you keep going. He'll be on when he gets back on.
No problem. So I end up so we moved to Fort Lauderdale from Bellevue, Ohio to Fort Lauderdale. So we go from a town of 8,000 people to Broward County. South, there's 3 Floridas. There's Central Florida, which is like Orlando and all that. And then there's Florida, which is basically, that top panhandle all the way over to Jacksonville that runs along the Georgia-Alabama borders, right? And then there's South Florida, the real South Florida, not the West Coast South Florida, but the South Florida. That's a hotbed for athletes and football, Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. Yeah. So I end up at St. Thomas Aquinas being the offensive line coach there. Spent 3 seasons down there with them. And won 3 state titles with them, got to be in a program that, like Nick Bosa was one of our D linemen,
What's crazy to me is you just said you were there for 3 years and you won 3 state titles. Like, that's wild.
It was.
That's not a story that most people get to say is like,
no,
I went there and then all 3 years I was there, we won. Like,
it was the first time in school history that they had won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And it was also the first time in Broward County history that any team had won 3 in a row. Yeah. And I just happened to be there.
Has anybody done it since?
What's that?
Has anyone done that since?
No, I mean, I think Florida's a crazy state, Yeah. I think you look at their 8 state champions from this year, and 6 of the 8 were from South Florida, Broward or Dade County. St. Thomas won it this year. They've now won 2 in a row. So I left. They didn't win it for 2 years, and then they did win. But it was.
That's where I was going. I feel like you're the X factor, right? You're the reason that they won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And left. They didn't win any for a little bit. So.
Hey, listen. Here's my opinion. I mean, they're so talented.
Yeah.
I had kids that were backups for me with Division I college offers.
Yeah. Did you? Who was the? You said Nick Bosa was there at your time. Is that right? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Nick. I mean,
was he the freakiest athlete in the weight room, or was there guys that would just?
Well, Nick. Listen, man. Nick is. First of all, you got to understand Nick's father was a first-round draft pick. Nick's uncle, his mom's brother, was a first-round draft pick.
Right.
So genetically, he's a freak, right? The second thing about Nick is he's very smart. Very smart. Okay. He's not a know-it-all.
Yeah.
Okay. He's very smart and he's a great student.
Yeah. He's intelligent.
And then the third thing is he's a perfectionist. Yeah. I mean, I learned a lot from him. He made me having to coach my guys, the offensive line guys, against him every day in drills, forced me to learn how do you deal with a guy like Nick Bosa? Yeah. He forced me to start implementing things like vertical setting and, recreate how to get double teams on him and, those sorts of things. Anytime he was in at practice, we had to go to quick game. So his presence made everybody around him better because he was just that good that you either had to elevate or just get dominated every day, right? And so,
which it does him a disservice, right? And really, that's the interesting thing for football for me is that you have a position coach, right? And that guy is very influential in your development, but also the opposing line or the opposing position coach can also influence you well.
Yeah. Well.
Absolutely, especially if you're dealing with such
your job. If you're not trying,
like
if you're just letting him eat your guys' lunch, right?
Then I'm
not making him better.
Then I'm not doing anything to. I have to elevate myself in order to elevate the guys in my room, right?
Yeah. And by elevating those guys, you're elevating him at the same or that position at the same.
And I think that's why the kids that come out of St. Thomas have such great success at the college level, is because it's not about the game reps for them. It's about the fact that they're going against 3, 4, and 5 stars every day, every rep that they take in practice. And so
it's the Ohio State Alabama route, right? Where we see that. How many times do you see the guy that was like 3rd on the depth chart for 2 years come in
and just dominate? I mean, I'll give you an example of our practices. So we had Elijah Moore, who is one of the top 4 Biletnikoff guys right now. He plays for Ole Miss, has like 1,600 yards receiving. So he was on our team. Michael Harley, who broke the record at the U at Miami this year for the single game receiving. I think he had 3 games in a row with over 150 yards receiving. Trayvon Grimes was another guy. He plays at Florida, receiver. And then we had a guy named Josh Palmer, who has started since he was a true freshman at Tennessee. Those were our 4 of our receivers. 2 of them weren't even starters. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
On defense, okay, you had Jaden Davis, who's at Oklahoma. You had Jordan Battle, who's the starting safety at Alabama. You had Asante Samuel, who just entered the NFL draft out of Florida State. His dad was an NFL guy.
Junior, right? Yeah.
So that was your DBs. So every day when they took pass reps against each other, it was dog eat dog. I mean, you had dudes everywhere competing every day. And so those kids aren't afraid to compete. They're not afraid to go against other top level talents. And so when they go to schools in college, they're used to that level of competition versus a guy like where I'm from now in Bellevue, Ohio. You can have a dominant player. If he's never challenged, he'll only get to a certain level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, and he's the top dog everywhere he goes.
Yep.
And all of a sudden now he's in a situation at a college where that might not be the case. And he's not used to that environment of competing.
It's adversity. Adversity.
Yeah.
Which we talked about with Trevor Lawrence, right? If you don't learn how to fight and how to feel like someone's taking something from you, you're just the big fish in the small pond.
If you're never challenged like that, you don't know how to come back from it, right? If everything just comes easy, then of course, it's no problem. Then once you're actually pushed, if you're punched in the mouth once, you got to get back up, right?
It's the same thing like with P90X, right? That's why I understood why P90X would work, because I knew that resistance and challenge and adversity is where growth came from. Being a football coach, right?
Tommy, my new nickname for you now is the Wolverine. That is it. 5'7" of just aggression. What in the world?
Well, are
you Canadian?
I'm Italian. My grandmother took me in when I was 11 years old, 12 years old, and she was a full-blooded Italian woman. She was about 4'10", but she'd hit you with a rolling pin. I mean, she was like,
I got hit with a wooden spoon. I'll never forget that. My mom was chasing me around, swearing at me in Hindi, right? Because she didn't want to swear in English. She's swearing at me in Hindi. She has this wooden spoon that she hits me with the wooden spoon 4 or 5 times, and the wooden spoon breaks. So then what does she do? What does she do? She freaks out. You broke my wooden spoon.
No, you broke my wooden spoon. Oh, yeah, right. So I had one of those old school. I had an old school Italian grandma that raised me through middle school, high school, and college, and God bless her. But she was a fireball. I'll never forget it. I was at her funeral, and there was a line of 2,000 people waiting to say their respects. It was unreal. And my head coach came through, and he looked at me. He says, "One thing about your grandma is she fired every bullet in her gun." And at that moment when I was probably 24. I thought I need to live my life in such a way where people say that about me at my funeral, where they said that was a guy that he left it all on the field. He fired every bullet in his gun. He gave everything he had to everything he was ever part of, whether it be a community or a family or a team. And so I had a great example in her. I was very fortunate. I learned through her and through Coach Sassani, that love isn't always easy, right? Love is discipline. Discipline is love. Yeah. Truth is love. I got to tell you the hard thing. I got to be brutally honest with you because I love you so much that I can't let you stay where you're at.
That's harder than anything else is to actually be honest about things.
Love's not fluffy, right?
No,
really good in a lot of areas, but it's sometimes it's the hard conversation. Sometimes it's beating your ass with a rolling pin.
Yeah. Well, she would, like grandma, I remember, in college, I kind of blew up. I went from 220 to 265, in college. And I was probably doing what a lot of college guys do. They get access to the food center and it's all you can eat every day. And I'm drinking beer on the weekends and I'm, all that sort of college.
It's no different than the Navy and the Royal Canadian Navy. And once you get introduced to the desserts, that's it. It's over.
It's over.
I mean,
right?
it's over.
I'm like, wait, I can have as many cookies as I want, and it's all paid for, and she would just look at me and be like, "You're getting fat. You're too fat." And it was the brutal, blunt truth, and but that rang in my head during the P90X when I was going through my weight loss was her voice saying, "I need to do something about it." Yeah, okay, you have a problem. The problem isn't the problem. It's your unwillingness to take action and do something to fix the problem, right?
Words are powerful when they come from a place of love. It's interesting. Before we got live here, you told me that you had a coach had a 5-minute conversation between 8th and 9th grade that you feel like really changed the trajectory of your life. And I think that's powerful. It's the same thing with your grandma. There's these things that people say to you out of love or from a good place, right? And that really motivate other people down the road. And what's beautiful about that is they may never know that
what they did or what they said
around for you. And It's such a fantastic way to live, is not to care about, like, is doing the work to plant those seeds and not caring about how it grows.
Here or when it grows.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's probably a better way to put it.
And here's the thing. So I call it, 5-minute conversations.
Yeah.
So I was a kid. I came from a broken home. I shared that with you guys, before the podcast here. Came from a broken home where there was abuse and there was neglect, and I was separated from my father, and then my stepfather had abused us, and my sister ends up moving away. I had one sister. She's out of the house, and it's just me and my mom. And my mom was emotionally broken after a second terrible marriage that had broken apart. And she and I end up homeless. We're living in Southern California. We live in Riverside, Orange County, near Anaheim in California. And all of a sudden, we don't have a place to live. So we're going to churches and people are taking us in for a week, or we're staying at a hotel for 2 days, or we're sleeping in the car tonight. And that goes on for a little while. And eventually my grandparents send for me and I get on a one-way flight to Ohio. But I'm an angry, pissed off, bitter kid, right? Because of the instability of my home life and my family. And so it was Coach Sassani. So I was in a lot of trouble, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, right? Getting Saturday schools, detention every day, mouthing off the teachers. I was, smoking. I was stealing my grandma's cigarettes and smoking, and those kind of things, because I was an angry kid. And Coach Sassani, so to tie this all in, he's the guy that was my head coach in high school that I've now coached with for a total of 17 seasons.
Oh, wow. You got to get into that afterwards. Oh, wow. This our dynamic about that afterwards. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So in 8th grade, Coach Sassani, who was not even the head football coach at the time, he was a JV coach, and he was like 31 years old. He wasn't even, he was a younger guy.
Yeah.
My grandma had a conversation. He was Italian, Sassani. My grandmother, her maiden name was Giuliani. She was Italian, so they had that, right? So the Italian thing kind of, opened the door for my grandma to talk to him. And she said, "Hey, can you help me get my grandson right?" Well, Coach Sassani he's a no frills added guy, right? He's 6'2", 230 pounds of pure intimidation. I mean, the guy's he looks like a silverback gorilla. And here I am, a little 8th grade punk 14-year-old kid with a mullet and a dangly cross earring and an AC/DC patch on my jean jacket, and he pulls me aside at the little town park. So it's not even during football, right? Now he pulls me aside, he says, "Hey, are you Tommy Migrant?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Your grandma Addie Cook?" And I go, "Yeah, that's my grandma." He goes, "I need to talk to you. What's this? I hear that you're getting in a lot of trouble." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "Well, I hear you got suspended from school. Is that true?" I said, "Well, yeah." He goes, What happened?" I said, "I got in a fight. And the first time I got in a fight, the second time I stole baseball cards out of a kid's locker, And he goes, "What's this? I hear you're smoking. Are you taking your grandma's cigarettes and smoking them?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, he goes, listen to me. I know that you're an angry kid. And I know that when you were, you feel like the people that should have loved you let you down. Okay. So I know you're getting in trouble, and I know that but I also know that you're a straight A student. I also know you're a pretty damn good football player." He goes, "Look at me. I'm 31 years old. Do you care what happened to me when I was 10? And I said, "No." And he goes, "When you're 31, and he puts his big finger in my face, right? "When you're 31, pal, ain't nobody going to care what happened to you when you were 10. So you better get your head out of your ass. You can't walk both sides of the fence.
Damn.
And you better start making some decisions on what type of man you're going to be."
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? He says, "So you get one shot with me. One shot with me to get this shit right. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to cut your hair. You're going to take the earring out. Okay. You're going to stop hanging around this guy and this guy who's getting you into trouble. And you're going to start hanging around the kids that have good families like Danny Ball." And, he named some guys in our class that came from good families. And you're going to stop being mouthy to your teachers. And you do those things, you'll be fine with me. If you don't do those things, I'm done with you. Right. And so you want to talk about no wiggle room for excuse. And here's the thing that I understood. I was 14. What I needed was a man in my life that gave me the bottom line and that helped bring accountability to my own life through my own actions, right? So
Yeah.
I call it, it's the mirror in the face, right? He put the
Yeah.
mirror in my face and said, here's where you're at.
Yeah.
And here, if you don't start making some changes, here's where you're going to end up. You're going to end up no good. You're going to end up in trouble. And you're going to be a man that nobody respects because
Well, yeah, you're going to end up the same way of who you despise.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
my message to people.
And
in
it's true, right? And I think so many times we recreate the same pain that we went through as humans, right? In our childhood or whatever. We have a tendency, it's, biblically, it's like generational cursing, where pain is passed on from generation to generation, whether it's financial pain or emotional pain. And so I knew at the time that I had to break the cycle, and I knew that God had blessed me with this warrior's spirit, right? Where I was a fighter. I was a fireball. I was internally a warrior, somebody that wanted to attack life.
Yeah.
And so he helped me harness that and guide it. And I ended up being graduating fourth in my class, being president of the student body, being a first team All-Ohio captain on the football team that went 11-1, and so when I had the chance to come back to my hometown and get involved in coaching and actually become a coach with him, I jumped on that after college, because it was so important in my life. But that was, and part of the reason why I had such a deep love and affection for my hometown of Bellevue. That's also why it was very, very difficult for me to leave it when I went to Fort Lauderdale. It was hard.
Right.
I was leaving something that had been good to me.
Right.
Well, I mean, something that had built you, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Not even
That's
not that it's been good to you, but had really like made you who you were.
It's truly
Yeah.
a foundation.
I would imagine though.
Yeah.
I would imagine that the old coach was supportive of you leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was. I mean, listen, when the P90X stuff started happening, I mean, I was a guy that I never wanted a paycheck to coach.
Yeah.
I found other ways to make money. I had other businesses that I would run and incomes that I would make. And so I never coached football to get, the $3,000 paycheck that a high school coach gets,
Right.
and the P90X stuff started happening and my life got crazy, right? I was traveling all over the country. I was traveling around the world on some occasions. And so I had approached him and I said, Coach, listen, I had built a team of, 5,000 Beachbody coaches.
Yeah.
That I felt responsible for, and I was actually helping to train the network at events. And so I was flying twice a month to different cities, speaking at events and doing those sorts of things. And so I said to Coach, I said, Coach, listen, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to hang on to coaching football and helping you. And we don't have another offensive line coach in the system. We need to bring somebody in that I can mentor. I understood the value of mentorship, right? I understood that I wasn't just going to leave something I loved high and dry. So we brought in a kid.
Yeah, that's legacy minded shit though, right? Like that's where it comes through. That's my gauge on leadership when I talk to guys that are just people in general that are in leadership positions. Like one of the leading questions I always ask is, who are you mentoring to take your job?
Yeah.
Well,
you're as a leader, you're not worth any like a hill of beans. All you are is a motivational speaker if you don't have someone that you're training to take your job.
That's a great point.
Job, you need to be on a different route.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Like even in the military, they emphasize that so much, is that if you're not training the person underneath you to do your job, then you're not doing your job, because you need to be able to have that person coming up to take over your job so you could do the next job.
Right.
And it's just like, that is like, Tommy, this is mind blowing right now, what you're saying. I had no idea about any of this. It just blows my mind when I think about how much influence that that one person can have, like with just a few moments of words to that person to change their life. I did have a very, very important question to ask you.
Yeah.
Were you able to keep the AC/DC patches? Did he at least give you the pass on that?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't have them still. I kept my Guns N' Roses pictures up in my bedroom, and what else? I had a warrant. So they're back in 8th grade, when I was in 8th grade. You're talking.
Did you just say warrant?
Yeah.
You just say warrant?
Cherry pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in
I think you know how the words of cherry pie, Sean.
This is my other
cherry pie.
This is my other claim to fame, right? Is in 8th grade there was a magazine called Metal Edge magazine.
Oh no, yeah, I know.
Right? Metal Edge, and so you could enter your name. If you wrote your name and address and you mailed it in, they would draw 10 winners of a t-shirt. So I'm in 8th grade and I do this and I win. I win the Metal Edge t-shirt. It's a Warrant Cherry Pie t-shirt and I wear it to school in 8th grade.
That's not even metal. That's not metal.
Well, it was in Metal Edge magazine, you know. So,
I know.
but I wear it to school, man. And I mean, I get in trouble for this, right? Because I mean, I'm wearing this Warrant t-shirt that has like, you know, it's the Cherry Pie song. It's like,
well, everybody knows what cherry pie's about.
You know, there's some chick in a bikini, and I'm thinking, you know, what am I thinking? I'm 14 years old. I wear this shirt, but anyway, my name is Tommy M. Bellevue, Ohio, in the Metal Edge magazine. So I had that ripped out and taped up to my wall, and you know, yeah, you know, whether it was White Snake or AC/DC or you know,
oh, dude, you're just naming like the whole entire metal Hall of Fame right there. Right. White Snake, right. AC/DC, GNR, little exactly. Metallica,
Motley Crue, you know, all of it. So it's you know, but it was a lot of great memories, man. It was certainly. So I maintained my love for metal music, you know. Now I've mellowed out. I'm no longer listening to Megadeth and Metallica, you know.
I still do.
Well, right now,
from time to time.
I'm listening to Disney music, you know, because I got these little
time and
kids.
place.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm a master at Kids Bop on the XM radio in my car. You know, Kids Bop, the station.
Now, there's my important question of the day: is when you're by yourself, do you change the radio station off of Kids Bop, or do you just leave it on there because you enjoy it?
It depends. I'll be honest with you. Now I listen to The Message, which is like contemporary Christian worship music. You know.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
You know, and I do that in my car rides when I'm alone because it just kind of brings me to peace. You know.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
You know,
music is a time and place thing for me. It depends on what my mood is on what I'm going to listen to, but typically I'm trying to just, you know.
The only time I listen to metal is in the gym. That's it. Like that's the only time. That's the only time and place.
I was just gonna say I've recently gotten into BFR training, which is blood flow reduction training. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
I got some friends that mess with that. Yeah.
So I just recently started doing some BFR stuff. I ran into some injuries with my shoulders and my back, and I couldn't work out as intensely as I was during my that whole P90X phase, and started putting some weight back on. And I know, like, okay, I'm 45. I got to figure out a path for me to maintain health and maintain wellness. But I got to do it in a way that's smart, you know, and doesn't just result in the cyclical pattern of intensity, injury, which is the pattern I've been in now for about 5 years. So I started doing this BFR stuff. But when I'm down there with BFR, you can, we weren't going to get into this stuff, but with BFR,
we're into it now.
What's that?
I said we're into it now.
Well, we're into it now. With blood flow reduction, it's a way to reduce the amount of oxygen your muscles get. So when you work out and you're looking for that HGH release, that release, that burn, right? And that's once you hit that burn and you can maintain that burn for a 10 or 15 minute period in a workout, that's where the changes come from. Now it also leads to soreness and lactic acid buildup and all that.
Right.
So the thing is, in order to get that burn, you have to go super intense or super heavy, for a period of time in order to get to the point where your body now recognizes the intensity level. And typically it's due to a oxygen depletion in your muscles during the workout, right? The strain and the oxygen depletion. So with BFR, when you got the bands around your, really between your biceps and your deltoids or around your thighs, you are restricting the amount of oxygen flow into your muscles. So you can use a lighter weight, higher rep, which leads to a less likelihood of injury, right? But really get this, it's been amazing for me the last few weeks to do this because I never thought about it before, but I'm able to, do my chest or my back or my legs. I could just do body weight in my legs and get the same burn as if I were, doing like a body beast workout or something like that. Right. But I'm doing maybe 3 sets of 30. But because of the oxygen depletion, my muscles and my brain recognize that as high intensity, even though it's lighter weight and heavier rep, right? And so, anyway, when I'm doing that, I put on lithium on XM, which is, you know, all the stuff
The
like Allison
90s?
Chain,
Yeah.
you know, some of the that's the whole point. That was the long way around to say
That was a long way around to go to lithium. Wow.
Well, you got to play what gets your blood moving.
Nothing wrong with little Alice in Chains or little Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, a little FTP, whatever, you know.
I'm in place.
Man. Go ahead, Brad.
I was just saying there's a time and place for all that stuff. I think that's important. Just to know your situation and where you need to be, and
Yeah.
you know.
So now you're coaching back in Bellevue, Ohio. Is that correct?
Well, so you know, we lived in Florida for 4 years. I was coaching at St. Thomas, which was really like a college job. I mean, it's 11 and a half months a year. You know, you got 5:30 a.m. workouts in the off season. I mean, it's like a college.
You have that much talent on there. I guess it would be.
Yeah. I mean, you know, these kids go there that, you know, they all are, you know, there's a lot in your hands, you know, I mean, and to me, it's a sense of responsibility that these guys are committing themselves here because they have dreams and a vision of something bigger. The majority of them do. Mm-hmm. And many of them have dreams of the NFL, but college, certainly. And so
I saw last night, Patrick Surtain's son plays for Alabama.
Yeah, he went to American Heritage, which I lived a mile away from Heritage, and I've spoken with coach. His dad's the head coach at Heritage.
Yeah, they said they were that he had him running fundamental drills at age 5.
He did. Wow. Those kids. Listen, it's a different world down there, man. I mean, I have so much respect for those kids. You know, they start in the youth football.
Yeah.
You know, and they're starting at 5-6 years old. I mean, you know, helmets and pads and you know, they grow up. But they're also surrounded by a community of people. You know, South Florida is an attractive place to live if you got money, you know. And so you have, you know, the last spring, I'll just give you an example. The last spring that so they have spring football in South Florida, which we don't in Ohio. But the last spring that I was there, Jason Taylor, who's an NFL Hall of Famer, came in to be the D-line coach.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know, I mean, so I coached the spring with him. So I was learning, you know, doing drills against him. He's coaching the D-line guys. I'm learning how they're teaching their hand placement and how they're reading steps and, you know, how they're, you know, whatever the fundamentals are. But, you know, so you're surrounded. There was a guy, probably one of my best friends on the staff was a guy named Daryl Williams, who, if you're a Seahawks fan, he was a safety for the Seahawks. He played for the Bengals and he played for the Seahawks. I think, who was the quarterback? Warren Moon. Was Warren Moon with the Seahawks for a while?
Yeah, he was
in late 90s.
Yeah. Brad is everything Seahawks here. Like if you have a question about Seahawks, Brad will know it.
So I think Daryl played 2 seasons for the Seahawks as a safety. He was 11 years in the league, a 2-time All-Pro.
Yep.
Played for the U, won 2 national titles there. But he was one of our DB coaches, you know.
Yeah.
But he was just a great guy. I had a great friendship with him. You know, guys like, you know, I mean, it was just the kind of place where we're standing there at practice one day, and it's like a walkthrough Thursday deal. And our OC's up in the press box, and he goes, "Hey, Tommy, who's that over at the gate?" And I'm like, "Hell, I don't know. I couldn't see. You know, I was on the film." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "I think it's Franco Harris."
What?
And I'm like, and sure as hell, like Franco Harris is there watching football practice, you know?
Yep.
What? I'm at practice one day, and all of a sudden, like Wes Welker's there to watch football practice, and he starts hanging around the program, you know? And, you know, so Wes kind of became part of our idea, you know.
Well, he became part of the Wes became a coach too just recently, didn't he?
Well, so Wes was we were trying to talk Wes into helping us out at St. Thomas.
Oh, wow.
And he got the job as like the QA guy or the receiver coach for the Houston Texans. Now, I don't know where he's at now.
Yeah.
But he was he was in the same boat as me. You know, he had newborn twins.
I saw him recently on a sideline somewhere.
Yeah. So he's coaching in the NFL now, but he was for a couple of years there, he was kind of lost, right? I mean, all he ever knew was football.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden
Tom
now,
Brady.
He's married with 2 kids and no football.
Yeah.
And he's out of his mind, you know. You know what I mean? So he starts coming around. So if you're in South Florida, one of the places you go around if you're a football guy is St. Thomas. You know, I mean, you know, we showed up to lift in the weight room one day and we had to wait an hour because the Atlanta Falcons were lifting in our weight room using our facility, you know. So I mean, it was just that kind of a place.
That's amazing. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. In Canada, all right, there's no NHL player coming to use any high school facility to
Right.
come and work out. It's not happening. Okay. So when you hear that a whole entire professional football team is coming to a high school facility to use the workout room, it's like, holy crap,
Yeah.
what? Because it's not happening. Sidney Crosby is not coming to lift weights. It's some bloody high school in Cole Harbor. That's not
Right.
happening. That's not happening. Wow.
Yeah, those kind of things happen all the time at that particular high school.
Wow.
And but you got to understand. I mean, all the Shulas went to school there.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing: is that when it comes to football in the U.S., okay, no matter what, I mean, Canada, we have everything when it comes down to, like when it comes down to hockey. Yeah, we have great hockey players, great programs, all that good stuff. But when it comes down to football, high school football,
Mhm.
this is like something different with you guys as far as that's concerned. I mean, yeah, we respect our hockey players coming up. World Juniors are happening right now. I know everybody
Yeah.
in Canada is going crazy. One of the top prospects just got injured in the World Juniors. He's gone for the whole entire season. He's a number one draft pick, like one of the top draft picks. He's gone for the whole entire season in this whole entire thing. So if that were to happen in college, I mean, that's your career. It's not his career there as far as that's concerned. But
Mhm.
what my point is that you have stadiums, not in every high school,
No.
but in most high schools in the US, you have stadiums that are the same size or maybe bigger than a CFL stadium. That is what
Right.
I don't think people realize how huge like high
It-
school football
It
is.
is. Well, Texas has the stadiums, man. Their high schools down there. I mean, they have stadiums that fit 40,000 people. Some of those high schools in
I'm
Texas.
not even talking about that though, man. CFL, we're just
So-
talking about maybe 13,000.
Yeah, it's. I mean, here I've
And
only
not full.
really.
The CFL places aren't full. We just to be clear.
They're
on that.
not. That's 13,000
And they're not
max,
full,
and they're
yeah.
not full.
It's
It's like
well. I mean, listen.
quiet now,
I-
Brad. Brad, hey, Saskatchewan's always full. Okay, there's
Listen,
nothing
Tommy,
else.
I've
to do
been,
with
I've been
Saskatchewan.
beating this drum this entire time about how terrible the CFL is.
Tom,
So,
we've
a
been
fan
having
of it.
we've been having discussions on the CFL. Like Brad doesn't think that they're professional football players. I'm telling him, yes, they are. They're still
They
getting
are.
a paycheck.
They're
you know?
one step away from NFL. I mean,
That's what I say.
There's a lot of guys that get drafted and they play 2 years in the league and then they go over to CFL because they get cut from an NFL team. But they're all borderline
Yes.
NFL talents. You know,
As long as you have a rule, Tommy, that you have to have a certain percentage of homegrown players on your roster.
Right.
That's Canada. Come on
Well,
now. Whatever.
doesn't
We
have
need to
to-
have a couple of people. Listen, you drafted one guy. Well, not you guys. I'm sorry. Now I'm saying the whole entire U.S. is a U. Okay, it doesn't matter what state you're in. The whole U.S. is a U. But the thing is that the United States of America drafted Tardif off of the Kansas City Chiefs. Tardif. Why can't I remember his last name is Tardif? I'm sorry. So
Okay.
they drafted him from McGill University, right? Top right guard on the Kansas City Chiefs. He took the season off to go be a doctor in Montreal here. Amazing guy. He was actually co-winner of the Lou Marsh Award here in Canada. Anyways, though, that's one of the very few guys I know that get drafted by a Canadian university to an NFL team. Like very few.
Yeah. Well, it's
Right,
one
it's a real thing.
One of the kids that I mentioned was named Josh Palmer, who plays for Tennessee, but he was from Toronto, and he moved to South Florida just to play football at St. Thomas. You know,
Just give me 1 second here. 1 second here for all my Toronto people there. All right. First off, that's repping the 6 and going blow, 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 blow. All right, there we go. All right.
What is that?
You got me for the T dot. Only in the
Yeah.
T dot, we cook curry in the T dot. I don't know if you remember that there from the NBA Finals. We cooked some curry in the
oh,
T dot.
we cooked some curry. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Raptors had it going, man. They
They
did.
did.
They brought one home for the Canadians. That's for sure.
Super happy.
Yeah.
Super happy. Greatest trade ever from Masai Ujiri. 1 year, doesn't matter. Rental, great rental. Great rental.
It was
the
great.
finals Kevin Durant played in.
1 game.
Okay.
Well, hey, you know, I'm a LeBron fan. He's from Ohio.
you gotta
I
be.
I
Yeah.
watched him play high school ball when, in fact, it was in 2012. We played his alma mater, his high school alma mater, in the state football championship, and he was there, at the game, which was pretty surreal, But Akron St.
He
Vincent
was a
St.
good
Mary's.
receiver in high
Yeah,
school.
well, he could have went league. You know, I mean, he could have done whatever he wanted. I mean, he's just
Freakish
that guy.
athlete.
he was
Freakish.
just a freak with basketball, but he was a very good. I mean, he was an all-state wide out, a wide receiver kind of tight end guy for Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's, which you know, arguably it's one of the better programs in the state. You know, it's one of the top 10 programs in the state of Ohio. But lot of talent that comes out of there. You know, the whole Cleveland, Akron, Canton area. So,
Yeah.
But you know, I'm always going to root for LeBron, even if he's with the Lakers. You know, I mean, he brought one home to Cleveland. So
You can't be upset about that, right? Like he left
No.
Cleveland, everybody was pissed. He went and won 2 championships, came back. He at least got one in there in Cleveland, so everybody's
Hey,
like
man,
off his back.
he came back, right? He had some help from Kyrie and Love, you know, and I wish that Kyrie would have just. I think he would have stayed in Cleveland had they been able to keep that team intact.
Absolutely. I don't know what
With
Kyrie
Kyrie.
was thinking. What was
Well,
Kyrie thinking?
Well,
I'm going to go to the
no one's
Celtics.
really sure what Kyrie is thinking at any given time.
I don't think Kyrie knows what he's thinking. There's a flat Earth. Oh,
Well,
sorry,
yeah,
guys.
he's a
Sorry.
flat- he's-
Yeah,
he-
he was for like a hot moment, and then all of a sudden he goes, I went into these rabbit holes. I'm really sorry that I believed this. It's like, yo,
Well, he-
bro,
what was
lay
it?
off
It was
the Google. Lay off
like
the
a
Google.
week or two ago, I see the video of him, you know, burning the sage before the game around the arena. You know,
That seems to be his
But-
new thing. Yeah, he's
I don't know. I mean, if you ask me, yeah, you know, a guy from Ohio, I just think that, you know, he wanted to be the man, and he was never going to be the man as long as
Yeah.
he was with LeBron, right?
yeah.
And so, you know, I think he wanted to go somewhere and build his own legacy. Not everybody is a Scottie Pippen that can play second fiddle to Michael Jordan, you know.
No,
But have an equally
Kyrie's not the man though. Kyrie doesn't have the makeup to be the man.
no.
exactly.
No, he is a second guy. He is a second guy.
That's why he's
He's
embracing,
never gonna be-
Kevin Durant right now.
That's
Yeah.
it. He's a second guy to Kevin Durant. You know, I mean, that's the thing is that Kyrie is a second guy. You're right. Not everybody could be Scottie Pippen, but Scottie Pippen also signed a really, really team-friendly contract when he was there.
That was a bad deal for Pippen for sure.
Oh yeah, that was highway robbery.
Yeah.
The
Man.
small town got me. I don't know if you guys watched The Last Dance. I'll just assume you did, but he talked about
Yeah.
how, you know, you live in a house with a dirt floor and they're gonna
It's
give
true, man.
you $2
Yeah.
million.
Hey, listen,
You're gonna
These
take it.
guys are, you know, he's an athlete, right? You know, I mean, but when you come from nothing, and I coach some kids at St. Thomas, I mean, Fort Lauderdale is kind of it's a double-edged sword, right? Because you got people that come from all kinds of money or all kinds of fame, but you also got people that come from the street, you know. And we had some kids that came, you know, from the street, and they're just trying to make it, you know, and making it means just being able to help their mama put lights on and not get evicted from their apartment, you know, not have to live out of a hotel. And so, you know, so they're completely committed to making that happen. So when he had a guaranteed, you know, he probably took that because like you said, in The Last Dance, he talks about that. When you come from not much, anything better than not much is a hell of a deal.
That's life-changing generational money
Yeah.
where he comes from.
Yep.
And it
Absolutely.
Did it underpay him and undervalue him? It absolutely did. But he still, at the end of the day, he was able to provide his family with a life that they wouldn't have had otherwise. And so, you know, that's the hard part about the professional aspect of sports is your value.
It's a business, you know.
Yeah. Did you see
it's a-
LeBron's little backflip get back on defense last night after he blew the dunk?
No.
Yeah.
Well, last night I was watching the Buckeyes put the stomp down on Clemson, so
I caught the highlight this morning.
I didn't see the highlight though.
Basketball is my first love, but football is I'll watch it ad nauseum. I always catch the basketball on the post side because, you know, that's where it is for me. But LeBron's still athletic at 38 or however old he is right now.
I
Yeah.
have to apologize there. Yeah. Phew. Oh, we just lost Brad. Oh, we lost Tommy. Whoa, what's going on?
That was you. You sat down too fast and it just
I sat down too fast. Everybody flipped around. I'm all freaked out.
Do you have me? Am I here?
Yeah, we have you. We have you.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Well-
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I missed
No,
missed
go
a bit
ahead.
of that
You're fine.
conversation. Unfortunately, when I get to the beer, unfortunately it's on rent, so it goes through pretty quick.
We're pretty
Yeah.
deep. We're pretty deep in here now, so we probably got a couple minutes left, and we're gonna wrap it up. But I wanted to. Are you a Cleveland Browns fan, Tommy?
Yeah, I'm more of a college fan. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the Browns. I mean, if I had to pick an NFL team, it would be the Browns. I mean, I remember watching Bernie Kosar and Brian Sipe growing up.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a big Browns fan. Always wore Browns, or I don't know if we're allowed to say the Cleveland Indians anymore.
Yeah.
You still are. You still are for one more season.
Well, I've always been a big Tribe fan.
Yeah.
I mean, in high school, the Cleveland Indians built, what's Progressive Field. It was called the Jake. It's always going to be the Jake to us, but they built that stadium when my senior year in high school, and that place through the whole '90s, when I was just a young man, was rocking. I mean, you couldn't find a ticket. I mean, I think they sold out like 7 seasons in a row in the '90s.
Now, do you think that had to do with the movie Major League and Major League 2?
Well, I think it had
Major League 2 probably.
Well, I think it had to do with winning.
Yeah.
I think it
It
had to do
did.
with winning.
It did.
They put together some real good squads back then. That's for real.
Yeah, we were winning, and I mean, Cleveland fans are diehard.
Yeah.
But you guys went to the World Series. Was it 90? Was it 96?
96.
Yeah.
And listen, in 95, we should have went to the World Series, but they went out straight.
Right.
Okay, but we had won like 100 games. We were like 118 in that season.
Mhm.
And then in 96, we make it to the World Series, but we lose.
Okay. So you were 118, Brad. What was Seattle Mariners record there in 2001?
I don't want to talk about it.
I think it was better than that. I think it was like the best record ever.
But
Yep.
And what happened? What happened in the divisional? The divisional round. What happened to Seattle?
Yankees. It always happens.
The damn Yankees. I hate the Yankees though. Don't worry. I
everybody
hate
hates
the
the
Yankees.
Yankees.
Yeah.
Everyone hates the Yankees, unless every Yankees fan, but I hate them too.
everybody hates the Yankees, man. I mean, listen, you come to Cleveland, there's no game that's more packed than the Indians Yankees game.
Yeah. I will talk to almost any sports fan about their team, but if you're a Yankees fan, I'm probably not talking to you.
Yeah. I'm a guy that I believe, if I'm from Ohio, I better like the Ohio teams. I better like the Buckeyes. I don't understand these people that live.
Well, the Buckeyes
Ohio.
are easy to get on board with.
What's
It's like,
fascinating-
they got a winning record. It's like they're
There's
good.
two states for me, in my experience, that care more about college athletics than they do about their own pro teams. It's Louisiana and Ohio.
Yeah.
We are certainly a college-oriented.
Yes.
Um,
Nothing wrong with it.
No, there isn't.
So it's like
there's
it's either
here's
all
what I would say.
LSU, all Ohio State, and you're like, oh, Cleveland, yeah, I like the Browns.
Ohio State is like, it's a passion. Like you have a
Yeah.
deep burning desire for Ohio State.
Yep.
The rest of it, the pro stuff, is like a social deal,
Yeah.
right? Where I like them because socially I can have a few beers and I can watch the game and enjoy it, but
Right.
I'm not going to live and die. I'm not going to feel bad the next day if we lose,
Right.
But yeah, I certainly agree with that as far as Ohio goes. So I'm a Browns fan. I mean, I've watched pretty much every Browns game this year that I could watch. Excited that they're winning some freaking games. I think that.
Well, it's kind of what my question is. My question is, with a winning season they have, right? 10 wins today.
Yeah.
If they lose tomorrow and go out of the playoffs, is it still a successul season in your opinion? I mean,
No.
It feels like
Yeah.
the most Cleveland thing in the world to have a
No.
winning record and not make the playoffs.
No. We were, I think in 2008, we were 10-6.
Yeah.
We had a guy named Krebs that was a kick returner, wide receiver that was really good.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, Joshua Cribbs. Yeah.
Joshua Krebs went to Kent State. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no. Listen, if they beat the Steelers and make the playoffs, Cleveland people will be happy. Anything less than that, as of right now, is. I mean, it's hard. We don't want a moral victory of, oh well, we went from being 1-31 in 2 years to being 9-7, and
That's why I love Cleveland fans, because
like we're tired. We're tired. We're tired of this close.
Yep.
We're tired
Yeah.
of it. So
Yeah.
we got the team. They just got to put it together. I mean, they gave Ravens all they had. They could have won that game.
Yeah.
Last week, everyone here is pissed off that the NFL made them play
Hey,
that game.
COVID COVID,
the
COVID,
because
COVID. Exactly.
They delayed other games. The Ravens had a game delayed because of COVID.
Yeah, but that's the Ravens. The Broncos had to go out there with like their not even a third string quarterback. So
right, the wide
it's
receiver.
interesting.
So
it's interesting how the NFL looks at certain teams. It's like, oh, we'll give you that. We'll give you that. We'll push it down. Cleveland is not going to get that benefit of the doubt. Denver is not going to get that benefit of the doubt. It's only the teams. Like if I tell you right now, if you were to see that Mahomes had COVID, they'd push that game. They're not going to play the game without Mahomes. That guy is a huge deal. He's a huge
that's
deal.
The reason why
people
love
in
college sports and not pro sports as much, because it's a business.
Mm-hmm.
Those decisions are business decisions.
Listen, there's business decisions, but then there's just being fair. That's not fair.
We already heard though. Be fair is a place they judge pigs.
Damn! I knew you were gonna bring that up. That was from Dave Sadler, which was from Stephen A. Smith. Thank you, Stephen A. Smith.
That was Lampton. Lampton.
That's right. Stephen A. That's right. Lampton said that was Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A.
Smith says that's what it is. Fair is fair. It is what it is. It's not fair. It's not great. It sucks, but it's that's.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's no different. It's no different than if you had two corporations bidding, and you just have one corporation going, well, listen, this is what we bring to the table. And this guy here, he brings what they can to the table, but it ain't the same.
It's whatever.
Whatever, man. Whatever. We'll just agree to disagree. I
don't agree with it. I'm just saying that's the way it is.
But here's my thing is that so I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. Like
Today.
that's me. No, not today. That's been my team forever. Okay, but then I got married to Joanna, and of course I am the I'm not going to say saint, but I am definitely the person that loves lost causes. So I of course inherited and loved my Browns because it was just like they remind me of my Leafs and they remind me of my Bills. They're just so bad that they're going to be good one day, right? So you just embrace them. And then this year, I had both of them popping off, the Bills and the Browns. So I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to cheer for both. I'm married to a Cleveland woman, right? Or Ohio woman that's a Browns fan. Right. And so I'm there. Of course I'm going to inherit both. But now, if the Browns do win, they're in. I'm sorry. I'm wearing this jersey. It's going to be Bills. I'm sorry. I know. But it might be a
Bills-Browns matchup in that first.
That's right. First round might be a Bills-Brown matchup. And it's just like, it's tearing me up inside. It's
yeah. Well, you're in conflict, right? I mean, I with some of the time I spent in Southern California, I was a USC Trojans fan. Yeah. And so I root for the Trojans, but if they ever played Ohio State, there's no way in hell I'm not cheering for Ohio State, right? So it's the same.
Yeah, I think if you're a fan,
I got fist bump this man right now. I got fist bump him. Boom.
You have every right.
Hold on, Sean. Listen, Tommy, do you have any USC Trojan gear?
I did. I don't now.
Do you now? Do you?
I don't know.
Okay.
What's that?
Sean buys gear for all of his different teams and then just wears them if they win.
No, I just sort of privately and secretly. No, I secretly cheer for them. I'm not like posting about them, and I'm not.
Yes, and there's nothing. There's a hierarchy. Like I have favorite teams too, but there's a favorite team.
No. This is my favorite team.
Gear that I'm buying. I'm not hiring like.
Wait a second.
Line off camera. He's got a Bills poster and a Browns poster, whichever one's winning, he puts higher than the other one.
I've never been in a situation where I had both my teams winning. Okay,
you can't be married to one and date the other. I mean, that's how.
Well, that's it. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, Tommy, is that for years, okay, both teams were just bottom dwellers. So it was just like oh, that's good. You cheer for two loser teams. Oh, but now all of a sudden they both have winning records. Like, oh, you can't cheer for two teams. It's like, get out of here. You know what? And honestly, Brad, I've been getting it from my cousin as well. He goes, well, you were a Seahawks fan there for a little bit. It was 2013 when I lived there. And they won the Super Bowl. Of course, I'm going to cheer for them.
Well, and like I become like a Miami U fan because I live down there, right? And I know some of the kids that are playing there. And I don't, the Dolphins. I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I would say that I'm a supporter of them.
Good way to put it.
I'm a fan of Ohio
Yeah.
State. I'm a supporter for. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference.
No, I totally understand because like even me as a Bills fan, I don't mind Miami. It's good they're having a winning record. I hope they make the postseason.
Good
I hate the
God.
Patriots.
Same
I hate the
topic.
Patriots. I hate the Patriots.
Everyone.
No. Not everyone hates the Patriots. Where I'm living, it's actually Patriots, like, because it's
Right.
in Nova Scotia, they're so close to Boston, they all think they're little, Canadian Bostonians. So
Right.
it's just like, they've all inherited everything Boston.
There's Yankee fans everywhere too for the same reason.
So what
Because
do people in like
like
Windsor,
the
Ontario
Patriots.
do? I mean, are they Detroit fans? I mean, but Detroit's such a loser and everything that
No, but you know what? I
You know?
have run into actual Detroit fans. Like actually, one guy from California. Like I'm not even joking with you, Tommy. This guy is from Sacramento, and I remember when I was in the Whidbey Island there because he was USN, United States Navy. I'm Royal Canadian Navy. We're working together. We're talking about football. So I was expecting him to say, 49ers, Oakland, something like that. He goes, "I'm a Detroit Lions fan." I'm like what?
he's from Sacramento. Hey,
yeah. Like
you know what
what?
though? Here's my thing. Okay, I'm a fan of people that aren't sellouts. So if you
He's not
live
a
in
sellout.
Ohio
Exactly.
and you're a Michigan fan, or you live in Ohio and you like the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're a loser to me. That bottom line, that's how I feel. Okay, like there's something to be said about loyalty, and whether you're winning, whether you're not winning, whether you're getting, So like, I'm not gonna go put on steel. I'm not gonna be a front runner that tries to like the team that's hot in the moment. Like I got one of my buddies was a Michigan fan growing up because in the 90s, Michigan was beating us in the 80s and 90s, right?
Right.
Now all of a sudden, the last 10 years, 15 years, he's an Ohio fan. He's an Ohio State fan. And I said, you can't do that. I don't care that you live in Columbus now, because to me, or pick something and stick with it. Like you
hear that, Brad?
I've been the same fan since '79.
Yeah.
I know, but you're like,
Pick
you're like
something
riding me.
stupid.
You're riding me, is what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not. Nobody's
Describing
throwing.
me was what he's doing.
Nobody's
pick
throwing. I have picked
Well, but
something.
pick something and stick with it. Like like okay,
Damn,
you're a Bills
Tommy.
fan. You have a reason to like the Browns, and that's because you're married to an Ohio woman.
Yeah, but have you
So-
heard? So Brad is actually okay. He's actually stated this a couple of times to me, going, "You can't do that. You can't do that." So he told me about this game in Seattle where Buddy Boy comes in with was it a Steelers jersey and a Seattle hat?
Yeah, in 2007. So after we lost the 05 Super Bowl to Pittsburgh Steelers, he shows up in a Sean Alexander jersey and a Pittsburgh Steelers hat.
That's crazy.
And so Brad's like freaking out, like you can't do that.
Yeah, at Quest Field, right? And in the levels of
Right.
the upper levels where the real fans sit.
Right.
And he had a choice to make. He could either take his hat off or take his jersey off, or he was going to leave because
Right.
I'm not playing that. But that's not how it's going to.
That ain't how we're rolling.
And he
Right?
says,
I'm just
"Well, my wife's
surprised.
a Seahawks fan, but I'm a Steelers fan, and she made me wear this jersey." I was like, "You got to go, homie. Like it's
Man,
not."
I'm just
Yeah,
shocked.
that's it.
I'm super shocked that at a football at Lumen Field now, all right, that a place that sells Starbucks coffee, you have fans that are that fickle. I don't know. It's like Starbucks. International first deployment. And I'll never forget, I picked up an England jersey. We're going into the World Cup coming up, right? And I picked up an England jersey. We went into Edinburgh, Scotland. No, Glasgow, Scotland. And I put this England jersey on me walking around Edinburgh. And I remember everybody around me because I didn't think one thing or the other about it. I'm like, whatever, man. We're in the Isles. We're in the British Isles, So I put it on. I'm walking around. My buddy's like, "You shouldn't wear that out there. You're going into Scotland. You're wearing an England jersey, right?"
Oh
Yeah. And I said, "I don't care." I managed to get away with it, but there was a lot of looks. I definitely got a lot
Well,
of
that's
looks.
because you're big. You can get
Yeah, I know. If I was a smaller guy,
still felt the tension.
but I felt like such a jerk afterwards. Like, what a jerk this guy is wearing an England
Slow it
jersey.
down,
and stuff.
Sean. So you still buy jerseys at whim. It's fine.
Yo, that's not true. I only have my
It's so
Brett Favre
trendy.
jersey. Not true. I got my Brett Favre jersey from Minnesota. I got my Russell Wilson jersey. I got my Josh Allen jersey now. I got my James Brown jersey, Cleveland Browns. I got my Dougie Gilmore, the killer jersey for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Tyler Ennis jersey. Oh wait, and I got some Blue Jays
You've
jersey.
been a Bills fan for so long, but that's your first Bills jersey, is what I just heard you say. After all that, so it's fine. Anyway,
You're not lying. You're not lying.
just making my point for me. I appreciate you.
You're not lying.
I know we've got a bunch of things to go. Saturday it's family day and all those things. So
Awesome, man.
Tommy, it's been great talking to you. We'd love to have you on again to talk some more. I feel like there's some things that we didn't get to, and so hopefully we can have you on soon in the future, and we'll be able to kind of dig a little bit.
Hey
deeper.
man, I've had a great time. I really appreciate you guys bringing me on. So thank you.
We really appreciate it, man. You've been a great guest, and I really hope you will frequent us one more time, maybe in the future.
Reach out to me. We'll set it up.
Yep,
that sounds excellent.
Yeah, that's it's a real thing to monitor. There's some really great games, not just great games, but just games that really matter. We quickly get into them. I know we've been going for a little bit here, so we can quickly run through this. Falcons, Buccaneers. Atlanta gets a chance to play spoiler against the division rival Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for it. I think it'd be fun to watch Tom Brady lose.
Well, I mean, so here's the thing. Do you remember that game that happened there where last week Buccaneers ran over their competition, right? Who were they playing, for crying out loud? I can't even remember, because it was just a ridiculous. Yeah, it was a Lions, and everybody was going, "Oh, they're getting hot at the right time. Oh, they're so good. Oh, Tom Brady." And then what's his name there? Steve Smith Jr.
Yep.
On that broadcast, I'll never forget, post game, ended up saying, "Yeah, Tampa Bay's going to get they're going to get smacked around in the first round." Because no, you just played Detroit, and you're going to end up saying that Tom Brady's ready. No, you played Detroit and you got that win. Whatever. You're playing the Falcons. Who cares?
Well, Atlanta cares. We'll see how it goes.
You think Atlanta cares? I mean, yeah, they want to represent that they're an NFL team. Absolutely, you want to play.
They're proud. It's a division game. They're setting the tone for next year. Raheem Morris is, potentially playing for coaching for a job. I guess. Like him, and if they win
it's the same thing.
Around.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Vikings Lions. I don't care about the Vikings Lions. Who cares? There's no playoff implications.
No one cares about that game.
Nobody cares about the Jets Patriots. Dolphins Bills. That's a big game. Dolphins need to win to really solidify a playoff spot.
Yeah, the Bills need to win too.
Do they?
I think so.
Do they? Because here's what it comes down to me. If they lose that game, right, and the Steelers are playing Mason Rudolph, it doesn't change anything. If the Steelers lose.
If the Steelers lose, why would you? It's the same thing as we talk about when you're fighting, right? Like, you can't leave it to the judges.
You can't leave it to the judges. I totally agree with you. But at the same hand,
why would you need to win this game if you're Buffalo? Because then
I'm not saying that
the
Buffalo.
only way you're going on the road is.
I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that there's not as much pressure on Buffalo to win this game.
No, there's not. But
there's all the pressures on Dolphins.
If you're Buffalo, you want to win this game.
Yeah, there's no pressure on them to win it.
They're doing what Pittsburgh should be doing.
Yeah,
we're just trying to win.
Yeah. Now the Browns, they have to win. They have to win, because you don't want to be in that position. Hopefully that Jacksonville's going to knock off Indianapolis. That's not going to happen.
No, not with the Colts playing for a
no way. So you need to be the author of your own destiny, as far as
Miami has to have the Ravens lose, which they're playing the Bengals, and the Ravens need to win.
Listen, right? Don't write off the Bengals. That is a conference. That is a division game.
What I'm saying though is that if you're the Dolphins, you either have a loss by the Ravens, the Browns, or the Colts. Which one of those is more likely to happen?
Yeah, no, you have to win. If you're a Miami Dolphins guy, you have to win. Same thing with Cowboys Giants. I mean, the Cowboys got to beat the Giants, or the Giants have to beat the Cowboys, I guess. If the Cowboys beat the Giants, right?
Yeah.
That moves them in automatic contention, and they need Washington to lose.
Well, both teams do. So either team, if the winner of the Washington and Dallas game goes, or I'm sorry,
Washington Eagles?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. If Washington wins, they go to the playoffs. If Washington loses,
no matter what, that's right.
Yes. If Washington,
but what I'm hoping
is it's the winner of Dallas and Giants.
That's right. That's exactly right. But that's why I'm hoping that the Eagles will show up. As much as I want Washington, it's a great story and all that. Dwayne Haskins is a piece of garbage.
Well, he doesn't play there anymore.
No, he doesn't. And now
Alex
I'm wondering.
Smith is starting.
He is starting, and that's after that injured calf. He's starting.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shin calf, some kind of bloody Kurt Schilling sock.
So I mean, that's going to be interesting. But I'll tell you what, I I have no dog in this game, but I've been dogging the Cowboys so much that I kind of want them to win for all the bad luck they've
You
had.
man, bad luck, nothing.
Dak
Yeah.
Prescott, that was a terrible injury, man. He didn't deserve that.
But they also that's because they got that onside kick against Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Bad luck there. It's whatever.
So Bengals Ravens, I think the Ravens are going to take it. If I'm a betting man, they're taking it. Like
Harbaugh's going to have those guys ready to go.
Yeah.
They win in the ring, right? I mean, they've got it. The control their own
Yeah.
destiny.
Now, Jaguars Colts, I'm sorry. I don't see the Jaguars with any path to victory in that game.
Not a viable path. No.
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 Titans,
You're looking at
Texans.
Baltimore having a 13-point favorite going into the game.
Yeah, I mean, hey, stranger things have happened, but I mean,
this is why they play. We
Yeah.
play the games for this reason, but Vegas.
well, that's the thing. The Bengals are playing spoiler. That's all they're playing at this point.
Yeah, against a division opponent. I love that
Yeah.
the NFL moved to playing division games in week 17.
Yeah,
I love
it's great. It's great because now there's just so much more.
Games. Well, because it matters. Even these teams that are out of it. Even like as much as we don't care about this Jets Patriots game, it's still a division game that matters.
It's not. It's not making my TV. It's not making my TV.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Now
Cardinals Rams.
There's not a lot of great games in the early window, so I might watch it.
Yeah.
But
Cardinals Rams. What are you talking about? There's Steelers. There's Steelers Browns. There's Dolphins and Bills. What are you talking about?
Again. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Whatever. You need a chai latte. I don't know. Titans Texans. Titans need a win, really, if they want to solidify any sort of projection going forward against Texans.
Got to get back on track after that snoozer in Green Bay.
Yeah,
if they want to make any.
I'm not. Listen. They were playing in Lambeau in the snow. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, all roads in the NFC go through Green Bay now that you have to play in Lambeau in that conditions. It's 100%. Ridiculous.
But if you're a running team, the weather shouldn't matter. That's the move.
Yeah, but if you're a running team that's not used to that conditions, I don't know, man. There's something to be said about warm climates and then having to come into Lambeau. I understand you said one person managed to do it, and that's Michael Vick. But that's one person.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. Green Bay had a pretty significant injury with Brian Bacteria tearing his ACL on the offensive line. It'd be interesting to see how they fill that hole.
Now, Cardinals Rams. I mean, Cardinals still have a chance to make the postseason. They got to beat the Rams.
Super fascinating, to be honest with you, because there could be 3 NFC West teams in the playoffs.
Yeah. If the Cardinals win, that definitely makes that a possibility for sure.
I feel sick to my stomach when I say this out loud, but I wish Jared Goff was healthy because I feel like you've talked about a John Wolford. If you can, raise your hand if you know where he went to school. No NFL snaps in a regular season game. It's gonna be hard for the Rams to get this thing home, but with that defense, anything's possible. And I'll tell you what, I'm here for it. If they win,
that's it.
Playoff City, right? That's gonna be.
Now we got Saints and Panthers.
Yep.
It's no real implications. Saints ain't playing for anything really, so you might as well rest. You might as well rest Drew Brees.
Yeah, maybe, right? But you got to play for the number 1 seed if Green Bay falters.
You think, okay, so that's an interesting game. Green Bay Packers and the Bears, because the Bears need to win in order to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yep.
So,
and Green Bay needs the win to keep their number 1 seed alive, because if they lose and New Orleans wins, there's that toss up there.
Are you sure? Because who has the tiebreaker as far as that's concerned?
It all depends on how the whole thing shakes out.
Yeah.
If Chicago wins and the Saints win and the Seahawks win, then New Orleans becomes the 1 seed.
Okay, there we go.
If San Francisco wins and the Saints win and Chicago wins, Green Bay stays the 1 seed. So it all kind of hinges on the Seattle game. Now, if the Panthers win and the Bears win, then and Seattle wins, and Seattle's the 1 seed.
Wow.
So
So there's a lot riding on
there's
these
a lot,
games.
and
Here.
those
Yeah.
3 games are going to determine the number 1 seed. Now, if Green Bay wins and beats Chicago,
Yeah.
um,
They got it.
well,
I don't think it's anybody.
Yeah, what's interesting is that if Green Bay wins and the Saints win, then both Arizona and the Rams look like they both make the playoffs before that game's even determined. Then
That's
they're just
insane. That's insane.
So,
So
well, I guess it looks like it looks like if Chicago loses but the Rams win, then Chicago would be the 7th seed and Arizona would be out. But if Arizona wins, then it's those teams. So it's like
interesting.
Yeah, the
Interesting.
NFC is wild. It's wide open.
It
All the
is.
matter.
There's so much happening in the NFC.
Yeah. So I mean, Green Bay's
But
got
that's because you have so much like garbage in the NFC though too.
Green Bay can't afford to lose.
Yeah. Chargers, Chiefs. I mean, Chiefs could rest everybody if they want. They got number 1. Who cares?
And they should. And they should.
They could rest everybody.
And you read well because he believes in momentum. But
yeah. Now Seahawks, Niners. I mean, Seahawks are gonna come out there. There's a division opponent. They're gonna sock them in the mouth. I think. I think they got the Niners.
There's not a division rival that Seattle hates more, and I would say that San Francisco.
The Niners. I think I agree.
Do not like each other.
Not at all.
Fan bases typically do not like each other.
Yeah.
And so I think that we're in for a good game. Even though the 49ers have had their injury concerns and those things, it terrifies me that George Kittle's back.
You need to use that though. You know what? If you have that kind of power, you don't have the passing coming to him. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He'll just improve the run game.
We'll have to see how it shakes out.
Yeah.
It's gonna be it'll be interesting to see how Pete Carroll decides to play it.
Yeah.
I love that the NFL shifted all the NFC games to match each other, so there's no scoreboard watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
If Green Bay gets up early and the Saints are up early by a couple touchdowns,
that's a good. You know what? That's a good thing. So that way you have to play. You know what I mean?
Pulling people in the second half to rest them, but
that's awesome.
But
That's
we're seeing those. Yeah, it was really.
This has
really
been a great football season. This has been a great football season to have this many teams on the line in Week 17. It's not like you shut your TV off. This is like important football going on. So
yeah, there's been weeks. There's been Week 17s in past seasons where no one's cared to watch.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
because everything's already set up.
Yeah, but not
it's still so wide open. Yeah,
not like we're gonna watch tomorrow. So
yeah. So Raiders, Broncos. I think the Broncos beat the Raiders. Why not? A little smack in the mouth.
Interesting.
I do think that.
I don't disagree.
I think so. And Washington Eagles, man, it's hard, but I'm gonna go for the Eagles in this one because I kind of want, like I said,
I can't believe it's the late game. To be honest with you,
right? But I don't know. Maybe when they were doing this, they thought, "Oh, this is going to be really good football." Right at that point, and now they're realizing
it's the game. I think it's the game that has the most riding on it, right?
For Washington, absolutely, they have to win.
It's the only win and go in.
That's the only win and go in. If they win, those other two, it doesn't matter what they do in the early window.
Yeah.
Like, you play your game, but then you're waiting till the late window.
The Giants or the Cowboys, you win and then you take a shower.
It doesn't matter. You win, yay, and then you're sitting there.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there like this. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Man. So I see Kawhi Leonard's feeling a little better, eh?
Yeah.
They still lost last night. At least it wasn't a 50-point loss.
Yeah, it's early in the season for the NBA. It's weird to watch them kind of get their footing.
The Raptors had to win that fourth game. Go down 0-4 in the season would have been detrimental. So that was good that they did that.
Interesting. A lot of favorites. Denver's like 1-4. I think a lot of teams are just kind of trying to find their footing. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, the Raptors. I mean, that's a lot of talent left. Gasol and Ibaka. It's a lot of talent that left.
It's interesting how the NBA is handling travel and the schedule and those things. Portland's in Golden State right now. They're going to play in Golden State again. I think it's Monday, so they're just staying in Oakland for 2 days. You know what I mean? But they're not going to. They can't leave the hotel because of the California restrictions and those things.
Right.
I think all that stuff's got to play into what happens on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It's just that. So I'm still hearing rumors and everything like that, Toronto's still the number one destination now for Harden, as far as they're
That's
actually in
the buck,
talks
buddy.
with them.
That's bang for the buck right there.
I know, but man, it's one of those guys. It's just like, you really want that in your team? You know what I mean? Like,
What's the strip club life in Toronto?
well, it has been so long, my friend, but
Well,
I'm certain that it's still popping and rocking over there.
I'm
So
not saying that you would know. I just like
yeah,
from
I'm certain that there's quite the life there. Yeah.
that's probably why it's on top of his list.
The quiet, snowy climes.
Man, I wonder if I bet if we took apart all of the adult entertainment nightlife, I bet that those cities are all on top of James Harden's list that he put out. I bet
You
it
know
wasn't
what?
about competition at all.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
interesting. Well,
that-
Brad, I got a little one-on-one question for you.
okay, let's get it.
All right. So, having a look at this, when is the last time that you felt that it was a do or die situation like it is in this week 17, 7 playoff teams, 7 playoff positions riding? When's the last time you felt a do or die situation for you yourself or your team?
Oh man, I don't know the answer to that. 2015 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It came down to the 49ers and the Seahawks. It feels like we always play the last week of the season. And
Mhm.
It came down to a playoff berth. I think that was probably the last. It's been a while.
Been a while, eh? Yeah.
It's an unsettling feeling because it's also always illuminates like the silliness of sports to me because I have all this anxiety about something I have no
Right.
control of.
It's so funny, right? Because like my last feeling for that was just earlier on this summer with the Leafs and the Columbus Blue Jackets. It was just do or die, and we died. So
No mourning the deal.
yeah.
My one-on-one is less of a question and more of a proposal. I guess it could be shaped as a question. So I lost our bet. So 50 push-ups for me
Yes.
on Monday night is coming because the Patriots couldn't pull their heads out on Monday Night Football last week, which is fine. I got some, even though it's going to cost me some push-ups, I'm still interested in the fact that they lost. So it's kind of a win for me anyway. But here's the question: would you consider going double or nothing on whose team goes further in the playoffs, Seattle or Buffalo?
Are you pushing this?
I'm just asking.
Are you pushing this? What
Double
are
or
you
nothing.
doing?
Double or nothing,
Are you pushing this, Brad? Double or
Both-
nothing. That's
both
100
are-
push-ups.
or potentially the 3 seed.
That's 100 push-ups.
Yeah, I know.
What are you
No, double
talking about?
I'm not saying I'll do 50 on Monday. I'm not worried about it. I'm just as a betting man.
You're putting me in a position right now, Brad.
That's what this one-on-one's for.
I've actually invited our push-up counter to come on Monday because
you give me
I was you gave me schedule because I was so excited. You have no idea.
Well, I
And
mean,
now,
that's the thing is you can either have this instant gratification or you can double down and see what happens.
dude, I don't know if I could do 100 push-ups.
I mean, it's just 100 in a set. I think you do 100 in a row. I mean, you got to do 100 while we're talking. That's the joy of it. You know,
All right, let's push it.
you want to push it?
Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
push it. We'll push it. We'll see whose team goes further. So Bills, that's what I'm taking.
Yep.
And obviously your Seahawks.
Right.
All right.
And whoever goes the first in the playoffs.
Now, what happens though? What happens if both of them are eliminated in the first round?
We'll go by score. Whoever scores the most points is the tiebreaker.
Oh, come on, man. That's not even right.
You're saying that Buffalo's this crazy good offense and they score all these points and blah blah.
All right,
blah.
all right. You know what? Hey, quiet you. 100 push-ups are coming your way. We're on. We're
That's the
on.
move, though. The tiebreaker is who scores the most points.
All right. All right. You're on. You're on.
Whichever team scores the most points in the
Yo.
tie.
So still, I'm kind of funny. Still going to show up. He's just going to have no push-ups to count now. He's just going to be there going, what?
Well, we'll just explain to him, then we can both jump on him about how terrible his Patriots are.
I love it. All right. You're on there.
Okay.
Little fist bump. There we go.
Okay.
I think that's all the time we have for today, my friend.
Yeah, we are deep into it. Thanks for sticking with us if you're still here. And as always, we appreciate the support from the bottom of our hearts. This is something that we started out of boredom and mutual respect, and we are feeling the love. So thank you so much. Thanks to Flyers. Thanks to Old Biddies. Sean, most importantly, thanks to you. Appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. You have no idea. It's always a pleasure to come on Saturday mornings, well, afternoon for me, morning for you, see your warm and smiling face, be able to talk some sports, drink some fine beer, and just have a good old time. So I'm appreciative of that. And I'm appreciative of people wanting to listen. So thank you so much.
Yep. Okay. Till next time, friends. See ya.
Peace.
You've listened to the podcast, but now it's time to visit us in our virtual sports bar. Get all of our info at guysbeersports.com, where you can find all the ways to connect with us. Watch for live conversations with Brad and Sean that happen throughout the week, and join in with your favorite local beer. You can share your thoughts in the conversation comments with your own uploaded videos, or even join us as a guest live commentator. The GBS Virtual Sports Bar is open for business. Come on in, boys and girls.